Have you ever scrolled through social media and felt kind of stupid? On one side, you see stock market experts talking about buying the dip, analyzing charts so complex they look like blueprints for a spaceship. On the other side, there are young investors bragging about massive profits from crypto, NFTs, or some random coin that just skyrocketed 100-fold. It feels like everyone's at this huge financial party, and you're standing outside, feeling like you're missing out, feeling like you're too slow. Everyone says you should start investing as early as possible. But looking at all that chaos, the real question is, where do you even start? Buy individual stocks? That's like searching for a needle in a haystack. Do you really have the time and knowledge to analyze hundreds of company reports just to bet your savings on a few names? Too risky. What about crypto? Sure, the potential returns are massive, but the volatility can keep even the bravest investors up at night. One day you're a millionaire, the next you've got nothing. That's not exactly a foundation for long-term financial stability. But what if I told you there's a third path? A quieter, less flashy one, but the very path that Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time, recommends for almost everyone. That's the index fund. And in this video, I'm not only going to explain what an index fund actually is, but also share the 6 best index funds you can buy, hold, and pretty much forget about for the next few decades. So, what exactly is an index fund? Imagine the U.S. stock market as a massive stadium filled with 500 of the best athletes, each representing one of America's largest companies, all competing in a tournament called the S&P 500. Investing in individual stocks is like trying to predict which athlete will win today's race. You might choose the right one, but you could just as easily pick someone who's having a bad season. It's unpredictable. An index fund, on the other hand, doesn't make you choose. Instead of betting on a single athlete, you're betting on all 500 of them together. You don't need one absolute winner. You just need the whole team to move forward. An index fund simply buys tiny pieces of every company within a specific index, like the S&P 500. So instead of owning just Apple or Microsoft, you own a slice of the entire economy. You're placing your bet on one thing only: the relentless progress of humanity and the long-term strength of capitalism itself. Rather than trying to beat the market, you become part of it. And that shift in mindset, from chasing winners to trusting time, can change everything. First, and most importantly, is the Fidelity 500 Index Fund, or FXAIX. If your investment portfolio were a house, then FXAIX would be the solid concrete foundation it's built on. This fund tracks the S&P 500, which means you're essentially owning 500 of America's most powerful blue-chip companies, the giants that have shaped the modern world: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google. These are businesses with competitive advantages so strong they're almost impossible to disrupt. Historically, the S&P 500 has delivered an average annual return of about 10–12%. FXAIX, in particular, has achieved around 12.7% over the past decade, and its management fee is practically zero, only 0.02%. That means almost every dollar of profit goes straight into your pocket. Let's do a little math. If you invested $10,000 in FXAIX today and did absolutely nothing for the next 30 years, at that average rate of return, you'd have close to $400,000. This isn't a get-rich-quick strategy, it's a get-rich-for-sure strategy. FXAIX is the starting point, the backbone of any long-term investment plan. Next, if you want to broaden your perspective a little, take a look at the Schwab Total Stock Market Index Fund, or SWTSX. If FXAIX represents the top 500 elite athletes, then SWTSX is the entire league, every professional player across America, with over 3,000 companies in its lineup. You're not just holding the giants, you also own mid-size and small-cap companies. the rising stars that could become the next Amazon or Google. Owning the entire market gives you maximum diversification. You're essentially investing in the entire U.S. business ecosystem, from global corporations to innovative startups. And the results speak for themselves. Over 30 years, a $10,000 investment in a similar total market fund could grow to more than $538,000. That's the power of capturing every opportunity, even the smallest ones. The third choice is for those who want their money to do more than just make a profit, they want it to make a difference. That's the Fidelity U.S. Sustainability Index Fund, or FITLX. In today's world, we're becoming increasingly aware of our impact on the planet, and FITLX reflects that awareness. This fund selects U.S. companies not only for their financial strength, but also based on ESG standards, which stand for environmental, social, and governance. It prioritizes businesses that are building sustainably, treating employees well, and led by transparent, ethical leadership teams. When you invest in FITLX, you're casting a vote for a better future. You're saying, I want to grow my wealth, but not at any cost. And the best part? You don't have to sacrifice returns to do it. Studies have shown that companies with strong ESG performance often outperform their peers over the long run. Now, let's talk about growth. If you want to add a little spice to your portfolio, take a look at the Fidelity Nasdaq Composite Index Fund, or FNCMX. The Nasdaq is the playground of technology and innovation, home to the companies that have transformed how we live, work, and entertain ourselves over the past 2 decades. Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Nvidia, Tesla, all the names shaping the future are right here. FNCMX allows you to own all of them. It's a more tech-focused investment, which means it comes with higher risk, but also much greater potential rewards. If it continues to grow at its historical pace, a $10,000 investment could turn into an almost unbelievable $3 million over 30 years. Think of this fund as the turbocharger for your portfolio, a powerful growth engine. But remember, it's the spice, not the whole meal, something to enhance your strategy, not define it. At this point, you've probably noticed that all the funds we've talked about so far focus on the US market. But as the old saying goes, don't put all your eggs in one basket and don't put all your baskets on the same truck. That truck, in this case, is the US economy. To reduce country-specific risk, we need to look beyond America, and that's where the Vanguard European Stock Index Fund, or VEUSX, comes in. This fund opens the door to Europe, home to companies that have not only survived, but thrived for centuries. Nestlé from Switzerland, LVMH, owner of Louis Vuitton and Dior, from France, Unilever, from the UK, global brands that stand for quality, resilience, and legacy. Investing in VEUSX helps you balance your portfolio, reduce dependency on a single economy, and benefit from the steady growth of other developed markets around the world. And finally, for investors who truly believe in the power of technology and are willing to embrace higher risk in exchange for exceptional growth, there's the Vanguard Information Technology Index Fund, or VITAX. If FNCMX is a broad bet on the Nasdaq, then VITAX is a laser-focused bet on the technology sector itself. This fund is made up entirely of tech companies, from hardware and software to semiconductors and cloud services. It represents the cutting edge of innovation, the place where breakthroughs happen every single day. This isn't a choice for the faint of heart. It can be highly volatile. But if you have a long-term vision and believe that technology will continue to drive the global economy forward, then VITAX can be a small but incredibly powerful part of your investment strategy. So, we've now explored 6 powerful options, from solid foundations to total market exposure, responsible investing, and high-octane growth engines. You see, investing doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't require genius-level intelligence or staring at stock charts all day. It doesn't ask you to predict what the market will do next. All it really takes is a bit of knowledge to choose the right path, a bit of discipline to keep investing no matter whether the market goes up or down, and most importantly, patience, to let time and compound interest do the heavy lifting for you. The journey to financial freedom isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. The earlier you start, the greater your advantage. So choose a simple, effective strategy and start today. If you found these insights helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.